You are Locked On Clippers Postcast. Part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well. Hello and welcome to the Locked On Clippers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, a place to hang out when every game is done. We could have started this game halftime or at least midway through the third quarter, or started this show rather. I'm Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers Postcast is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Well, I don't know what we're going to talk about tonight because it's not going to be this game. I mean, we will a little bit, but I'm so embarrassed by the Clippers' performance here. I didn't even bother to put on one of my Clippers hats tonight. I went with a Leaper's Fork whiskey hat, which is a very, very boutique-y small whiskey brand near Nashville, Tennessee. Wow. I guess the bright side of this game for the Clippers is they're not going to lose by as many as the Lakers did tonight. They were thumped in Miami by 41. And the Clippers down 96-68 right at this point in time. And, they have waved the white flag for a good portion of time. Good news for diehard Clipper fans. The excuse being on this one is Norm Powell was out. Second night of a back-to-back. No Kawhi Leonard still. Kevin Porter Jr. out, just a lot of injuries, a lot of guys not playing. Norm Powell, I said that. Who else didn't play tonight that I'm forgetting about? Well, not that it mattered much. I don't know that the Clippers would have had a different fortune if Norm Powell was playing. The second night of a back-to-back when they have literally played every other night for the last 35 days. They were smelling the barn hard, big time. For those of you that don't know what smelling the barn is, evidently this is a term that is a little bit older. I used it to my producer, Sam, our producer here on the Locked On Postcasts, who is in Minnesota and probably is covering this game. I think he'll be doing the postcast for the Minnesota TWolves side of this demolition. Did not respond with a what? What does that mean? Usually when I say smelling the barn, a lot of people, generally people younger than me, go, what? Smelling the barn? What does that mean? So I always feel the need to enlighten people with colloquialisms because I think they're fascinating for the most part. Smelling the barn is a cowboy term. When you go out on a horseback ride, towards the end of that ride, if you're just out for a casual ride, or if you're out, punching dogies, as they say, which I believe means, pushing cattle. As the horses get closer to the barn, they start running a little faster because it's like they can tell they're almost home and they're done working for the day. So that's the term smelling the barn. It's like, we're close. We're almost home. This day is almost over. I can get you off of my back, take the saddle off, put my face in an oat bag. Another one that I love as far as derivation of terminology is nose to the grindstone. This is a great one. If you don't know what nose to the grindstone is, I will tell you now. Nose to the grindstone is a very literal term. Basically, it means that you're working hard. You got my nose to the grindstone today. Way, way, way back in the day when they made masa with corn or maize, you had to grind the corn down into cornmeal. And you did that with a couple of stone wheels. And the way you could tell that you were grinding it at the right fineness, not too heavy, not too light, you didn't want to burn it, is you put your nose down on the grindstone. So That's how you know you're grinding the cornmeal down to the right texture. So there you go. You're now enlightened. Timberwolves almost to 100, 99-70 with 4 and some change to go in this one. Again, I feel now it's 101-70. So they're up 31. I think the embarrassment of LA basketball tonight in the NBA goes to the Lakers as far as being the most embarrassed. The Clippers, though, just didn't do anything well tonight at all. It was bad from the get-go. 14 points in the first quarter, 18 in the second, while the Timberwolves had 33 in the first, 26 in the second, 59-32. Wow. They just couldn't hit any shots. I mean, I feel bad, like, getting into this and breaking it down. I mean, really? Pretty clear what happened here. Turnovers were a problem. Minnesota had 13. The Clippers had 20. They just couldn't make any shots. They 19% in the first half. It's just 20% from 3. At the end of the first quarter, the Clippers were shooting 16% from beyond the arc. They had 2 of 11 or something, while Minnesota was shooting 50%. Randall had a great start, 4 of 6 from beyond the arc. 16 points. They were just rolling. I mean, Anthony Edwards, I was surprised, honestly, that they kept their starters in and some of their stars in as long as they did. I mean, Ty Lue was like, let's clear the benches. I mean, we got to see a bunch of dudes that we have never seen before because they've never played before. Cam Christie played 14 minutes, 5 points. Trenton Flowers, 11 minutes, 7 points. Thought for a second that Flowers was wearing his earbuds on the floor. And that's the kind of night, tonight's the night where you would wear your earbuds out there, listening to music, just vibing. It just didn't seem like any of them cared. They were like, I'll take that back. Amir Coffey played hard. It seemed like he cared. 28 minutes, 12 points. Derek Jones Jr. had a nice game. It's not over yet, but basically, I don't know if these guys are even in the game at this point. He played 28 minutes as well, 5 of 12, 3 threes for Derek Jones Jr. So he played well. They just had no perimeter defense. And, I don't know that the Clippers, they talked about it a little bit, this was on Channel 5. So Ping, trying to be funny, talking to the coaches at halftime, trying to get a, sense of what's going on. What do we do in the second half? What are the adjustments that need to be made? And the word was just throw away the first half and start over. Yeah, I don't know. That's not going to be enough. It just didn't feel like they had it in them, right? Chipping away is a skill. You got to play hard, but not too hard. Almost have to lull your opposition into a false sense of security, right? When you're down that big, you got to just kind of chip away. But you got to make some shots. You got to get hot for a little bit. The Clippers just never, ever got hot in this game. It was dreadful. As good as they played last night is how bad they played tonight. Everything about this game was awful. Everything. There was not one good thing to come away from this. Bones Hyland, I guess, was okay. Got in there a little bit earlier. 4 threes. He had 15 points. So he led the way off the bench. But I think I see why Ty Lue doesn't give Bones Hyland a little bit more time earlier in the games. He's a little loose on defense, and I think he's just a little too quick to pull the trigger. He's not always looking for the best opportunity. He's just looking for an opportunity. Just let me fire. Let me shoot, right? He's a little undisciplined. It's not like he's young, but he's just a little undisciplined. Whereas some of these other guys that are gaining more time off the bench, like Jordan Miller, 22 minutes tonight, 4 of 11, 8 points. He's starting to become more disciplined. He is taking advantage of these opportunities. Excuse me. So you kind of hoped that tonight he'd get a little bit more time, find some more rhythm, gain some more experience. And I think he did that. He just wasn't locked in either. 4 of 11 is not very good. Nobody was. James Harden was awful. 5 points, 1 of 10, 1 basket. and that was a 3. Should I put that on the bucket list? I didn't, because I'm like, come on, that's embarrassing. You don't deserve any credit for that. Took you way too long to get that first bucket. Zubac's 4 points, but he did pull down 10 rebounds. So we're at the 2-minute mark. Clippers down 30 at this point. After this first break, we're going to get into some good stuff that happened prior to tonight. Because this 10-game streak the Clippers have been on leading into tonight's game, where they've won 9 in a row at home, has been fantastic. And Brian Seaman even brought it up. He's like, the one downside of this game for me as a stat nerd is that it just screws up a lot of the Clippers statistical information, right? Because it's a sore thumb in the mix. Whereas they've been playing really well, putting up very good numbers, and here you get this one stinker. Now, the Clippers are obviously not as bad as they played tonight by any stretch of the imagination, but it just happens. It's part of the league. It's part of the way it goes in a long season when you've been playing every other night for more than a month, and you have a nice little break in front of you. Today's Wednesday. They're off until Sunday, and you could bet your bottom dollar that they are looking forward to that time off. I'm Pete Fox. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out whenever a game is done. You can also listen wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, of course, is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 10 million members and billions of dollars awarded in winnings. It's real simple to get in on the action. You pick more or less on at least 2 to 6 players from 2 different teams, and you can win up to 100 times your money if you pick some of those red demons. I like the green goblins. They're a little bit easier to hit those. But if you want to get those better odds, you pick the red demons. You can get 4 for 4. You get 100 times your money. So make sure you download the app. If it's not working for whatever reason, which has happened to me occasionally, you just go to their website, prizepicks.com. One of the other things I love is getting involved or getting paid. Very, very easy. Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. So download the app or go to their website. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's prizepicks.com, LOCKEDONNBA, for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Tonight's episode also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is a great way to get a bargain on tickets for not just sporting events. You can go to concerts, to comedy events, theater, a lot of different options available. And Game Time has Game Time Picks. Their curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. And if you are willing and brave enough to wait up to an hour before the game, you can save even more money. They have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you up to 110% of the difference. Also, all-in pricing. You can toggle this feature, shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. And my favorite feature, seat views. You can get a panoramic view from the seat to see exactly what you are getting into. So download the Game Time app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, it is final. And again, the Clippers salvage one thing today. Not the worst performance by an LA NBA basketball team. They lose 108-80. So downed by the Timberwolves by 28. And there wasn't much good in this game at all. Forced passes, forced looks, careless with the ball, just sloppy all around. And I did confirm that Trenton Flowers was not wearing earbuds. I guess he has earrings that he doesn't want to take out which I think is kind of strange. He must have just got him recently, because that's what it was all over his ears, was the tape. But at the same time, I have a feeling that I am the only person that watched this game till the very end that is a Clippers fan. There was probably more important things to do, like cleaning out the garbage disposal or emptying the trash, cleaning the dishwasher. Probably a lot of chores you could have handled tonight. Put up your Christmas ornaments. That's what we did prior to the game. I was very proud of that procedure. I'm not a huge fan of putting up the Christmas ornaments because at my house, it's more like a chore. It's just like anything else. It's like vacuuming. We don't do the let's get some eggnog. And we did put on Christmas music, so that made it a little bit more festive. My daughter helped. I have a rule when it comes to Christmas lights, 30 minutes or less. Same rule for my Halloween costume, 30 minutes or less. Like it all has to happen in 30 minutes or less. So tonight, putting up the tree, I think it was about 30 minutes. We have a fake tree, and we've had it for 14, 15 years, and it's got the lights integrated in the tree. So all you got to do really is take it out of the box, 3 pieces, you stack them on top of each other, plug it in, and it's good to go. And then you just put on your ornaments. It usually is a pretty quick process. So tonight, I think that tree is on its last leg. It's up, and it's not spinning. It's just standing there stagnant. But we had to put on exterior lights. The lights are no longer working. So I think this is the final year for this artificial Christmas tree. We'll have to get another one. But I think we did it all in right around 30 minutes. As I was situating the ornaments, putting up the lights, my daughter was taking the stuff out of one of the other boxes, like the snowmen and the Santas and the stuff you put on the mantle of the fireplace, putting that around. And then she just disappeared. I was like, is that it? Are we done? I guess we're done. It's right around time to start the Clipper game. So I was like, I guess that's good. Unfortunately, the game was over quick, fast, and in a hurry. We'll get to the bucket list here in a second. I did find 5 good buckets in this game, but first I wanted to get to some of these numbers that were really kind of surprising and exciting. Positive stuff over the last 10 games. Clippers have won 8 of those 10. They have been holding. I love this number because it's not a number that is readily available. I think you got to dig around pretty hard for it. And I need to figure out where to find it because I love this number. Knowing what the Clippers do defending the 3. And they are over the last 10 games, they are number 1 in the league defending the 3 with the opponents shooting 32% or less. And they did a pretty good job in the end on the Minnesota Timberwolves, who were pretty red hot early in this game. I think they just kind of switched it off and stopped shooting threes when they were blowing out the Clippers by 30 and 40 points. But they shot 36% tonight from beyond the arc. So that number probably not obliterated by this loss. Timberwolves shot 48% from the floor and the Clippers 34%. Got up the 3-point percentage a little bit. Again, it was 16% in the first quarter, 19% at the break. And at the end of the night, the Clippers shot 27% from beyond the arc and 34% from the floor. Their defensive rating over the last 10 games, second in the league at 104.4. And the points they are creating off of turnovers is third in the league at 22 points. So doing really well, playing good basketball. And tonight, notwithstanding, I feel like everything's fine. I'm not terribly worried. They purpose I can't say the damn word. Purposefully rested Norm Powell with that hamstring issue, knowing that they got a big break in front of them. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday before 3.5 days off before they play again on Sunday night. So he had the night off. Terrence Mann was the other guy who missed tonight's action with a finger issue. So a lot of guys resting, even the guys that were in the game. James Harden rested, Zubac's rested, Chris Dunn, all those starters except for Coffey, who was playing a little bit into the second half, didn't get a ton of minutes because they just said, hey, why waste the energy and risk somebody getting injured here? But through this portion of the season for the Clippers, 24 games, they're 14-10. And Brian Seaman commented that he feels like they are outdoing expectations. I'm assuming that's based on the fact that Kawhi Leonard is still not playing, but and the fact that they have a bunch of new players. I look at this team and I say, I feel like this is pretty accurate for what we got. Norm Powell and James Harden propping them up, and everyone else filling in the gaps. We've seen some good stuff with the injury to Norm Powell. I've commented multiple times that this team, I feel, is gaining experience out of necessity, right? Because Norm Powell has been out, and he is a major part of their scoring, their leading scorer to this point in the season, and Harden right on his tail. But again, you see Harden have nights like tonight where he only makes one basket, going 1 of 10. And when you don't have anybody else to fill in the gaps, I don't know that Amir Coffey can pick up that much slack. He's a good basketball player, but he's not picking up that much slack. Tonight he was 5 of 9, had 1 3 for 12 points. So we'll get to the bucket list after the break, where I will tell you about guys that have not been on the bucket list ever. A couple of them, or at least one. Clippers fall 108-80, and the Minnesota Timberwolves win the season series against the Clippers. They get above 500 for the first time this year. They're 11-10, 4-6 on the road. But I don't think that's indicative of who they are either. So just a weird game tonight, and the Timberwolves win the season series because they're only playing 3 games. So they've won the first 2 after that 1-point win on Friday in Minnesota, where the Clippers kind of unraveled down the stretch. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast is brought to you by Chime. Chime helps you with fee-free overdraft up to $200. Your next deposit is applied to your balance. Get spotted on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. That's it. Car wash withdrawals. Wow. I'm not the only tired one, I guess. Or the Clippers aren't. No monthly fees or maintenance fees, over 50,000 fee-free ATMs. Today, Chime has spotted members over 32 billion in transactions through Spot Me. Friends give friends a boost. Eligible members get complimentary boost to temporarily increase a friend's Spot Me limit. When you give a boost, they can boost you back to temporarily raise your limit. Enjoy the holidays while keeping your financial goals on track with Chime. Open your account in 2 months at chime.com/NBA. That's chime.com/NBA. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by Bancorp Bank NA or Stride Bank NA, member FDIC. Spot Me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Direct deposit timing depends on submission of payment file. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs and for OTC withdrawals. All right, Clippers get shellacked tonight. Not pretty. Never in this one. 108-80, the final. But we did find 6 actually. Really nice baskets. Amir Coffey got things started. 7:41 mark of the first quarter with a 3. It was the Clippers' first and only lead of this game. So that was the high point. It all went downhill after the 7:41 mark of the first quarter. Really, it did. They were up 10-9, and you turn around. It was then 16-10 Minnesota. Ty Lue called the timeout, and it just continued to get uglier and uglier and uglier from there. Again, they only scored 14 points in the first quarter. For number 4, Bones Hyland hit a 3 at the 11-10 mark of the second. That made it a 20-point ball game. So just really quickly out of hand. It was 37-17 Minnesota there. He hit another one a couple minutes later at the 8:35 mark. That made it 49-23. trying to get back into it, but it just wasn't happening. They just couldn't find any rhythm at all. There was never even a moment where you could say, well, they're only down 20 or they're only down 18, like turn around and, hey, we're kind of back into this one. We're not being embarrassed. No, this one was embarrassing throughout. For number 3, Derek Jones Jr. hit a 3 at the 8:05 mark of the third. That made it 69-37. Just a nice shot from Derek Jones Jr., buried it there in rhythm, looked good. For number 2, Amir Coffey had a free throw line jumper, got fouled. So the hoop and the harm, and he made the bucket. It made it 79-43. That was at the 5:09 mark. And for number 1, Trenton Flowers had a dunk on an alley-oop at the 11:47 mark of the fourth. His first basket as a Clipper. It made it 86-52. It was also Cam Christie's first action as a Clipper, his first basket. He finished the night with 5. Trenton Flowers made 4 baskets. He finished the night with 9. Jordan Miller in 24 minutes had 8. Bones Hyland, as I said, led the way for the Clippers. 5 threes. He had 18 points in 23 minutes. Mo Bamba, an off night with no points. Kai Jones played 16 minutes, 3 points, all at the free throw line. Batum only took 1 shot and missed it. Chris Dunn was ice cold. That was a big part of the reason the Clippers fell behind early. He was 1 of 8 and 0 for 3 to start this game. Finished tonight with 2 points, 12 for Amir Coffey, including 1 3. Harden only had 5. Zubac had 4. When could you see a night? I mean, that's how odd tonight was, that between Harden and Zoo, they did not get to double digits. That is crazy. Derek Jones Jr., 28 minutes, 5 of 12, going 3 of 7 from beyond the arc. Also interesting and kind of crazy after the night he had last night, above the rim, living in the lane, playing fantastic. A super athletic game for Derek Jones Jr. last night. Tonight, 3 threes from beyond the arc. The turnovers were a big part of this loss for the Clippers tonight, 21, while the Timberwolves only had 14, and the Timberwolves had 15 steals. Clippers had just 7. So it is a night to forget. So we will put this one to bed and wake up tomorrow and hopefully have forgotten about it. Again, off until Sunday night. Unfortunately, we won't be here for the Clippers postcast on Sunday night because we have Chargers Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. So we'll be doing that game. So off day for me as well, or a few off days rather, because there's no more Trojans. They're done. So I'm off as well. So enjoy the time off. Thank you guys for checking in, Daniel and BC. Even though you aren't Clippers fans, I'm surprised that you're not in here blasting the Clippers. I guess you don't really have a leg to stand on tonight either, as the Lakers got blasted by 41. So an ugly night tonight for LA basketball. Before we check out, let's have a quick look at how the 2 hockey teams are doing, who are both playing in LA. You don't see that very often. The Ducks fall to the Knights 4-1. And the Kings squeak one out against the Stars 3-2. So on the ice at Crypto, the only victory of the night in Southern California professional sports, the LA Kings. All right. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast. And again, we appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Enjoy the time off. We'll check back in on Sunday night after Clippers and Rockets. No, we won't. Sorry. Jesus. We'll check back in after Chargers and Chiefs for the Chargers postcast right here on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Have a good night.